everybody. Glad to have you all join us. Join me, join those you cannot see, the our wonderful IAs that are always so supportive and helpful in this, and Langara as well. So welcome to another kind of masterclass session here. It's great to be able to do these with all of you and give you a bit of a preview of a lot of what we do in web mobile at Langara. And we cover many topics, but we get these master classes to highlight some of the newer and neat kind of little things, little bonus parts that if we can throw in, we can to help our students, help anyone as well related in industry like yourselves. I see a lot of names I don't necessarily recognize here, so and some I do, which is great to see many of you here. But hopefully this is helpful to you all. Though it is aimed to postgrads, there is lots of little nuggets in here that can be helpful if you're just kind of getting back into the groove of things with your portfolio, finding new work, seeking new work, whether it be kind of public or secret, whatever that's going to be. But let's kind of go forward this with some postgrad self-marketing. But though it is aimed at designers and developers, it is applicable to many folks here. So. Let's have a quick look at our menu tonight, and we'll keep it about an hour or less here. So this will also be recorded, and so for anyone who has seen this later, happy to have you join us online on our video channel here, and I'll share some of those links at the end of my presentation here. Hopefully there'll be some time for some more questions. Trying to answer those as many as I can. So our menu here is we're going to kind of try and keep it pretty tight and straightforward as possible here. The kind of the content, the essentials of what's going to be needed to get you started, marketing yourself. And this is really all it's about is self-marketing yourself as brand new developer, brand new designer, brand new graphics, video, whatever part of the digital field you're interested in. It is not always easy. Reflecting on myself in that position many years ago was back then it was definitely not easy, and it just changes. It just changes how we're networking, how we're trying to showcase what we do. And content is going to be just a huge part of that. And when I say content, it's not creating posts every single day. That would be unreasonable. It's creating the right post or the right content for the right audience at the right time, and being strategic in what you're showing off. Because we also don't want to overwork ourselves, burn ourselves out, especially, with a post grad in mind. You've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, money as well, getting yourself through your studies, and you're ready, you're kind of tired at the end of that point there. So how can we utilize what you have to content-wise, what you have to spread that out over time and to showcase your work and highlight what you've learned, developments, and your own thoughts. It's very important to convey your own thoughts in what it is that you're studying. So we'll start with a little bit of the content there, what kind of content is kind of viable, and where to share that content. That's very, very important. So like the spacing it out over time, as well as what comes after the content. So if you have only so much work on your portfolio, it's important to see, what else can we show off. You don't always have time to create just content on its own. And then hopefully some Q&A time. So let's get started. Who am I though? Who is this person, speaking to you? I instruct at Langara. I've been instructing for nearly 20 years here. I come from industry. Tyler Higgs is my name, and it's been an interesting journey, and I'm going to highlight a little bit of that today, where I started, in industry, and then trying to network throughout the years, different places, network, different people, different methods. So I'm one of the instructors at Web and Mobile at Langara, one of many instructors in a really fantastic program here. My background is in software design and development, mainly on the UX side. That's where I kind of gravitate towards, and I still enjoy quite a bit. But speaking of transitions in your career, I started out as an illustrator, and that's still something I very much enjoy doing. But you never know where your kind of professional journey is going to go, and part of that is marketing. Where are you going with your journey, and then letting people know what is happening, because that's how we get the conversations going. That's how we get the interest coming through, and that's going to be a lot of what we're going to go over today on the marketing side. So that's a little bit about me. There's a LinkedIn link there. You know, you feel free to connect with me there. Connect with other our leg gear IAs, our instructors, and kind of get a better idea of what's happening in our program. Again, I'll share many of those links at the end here. So there's many different options for showcasing your work, and the one I'm going to highlight specifically today is LinkedIn. Now, I'm not paid by LinkedIn. I'm not. You're a huge fan of LinkedIn. I'm not a fan of LinkedIn. The way I would recommend looking at LinkedIn, like anything, is that it's a tool. It's a tool for you to use. It's a platform in this case for you to use that is geared towards professionals, and that's what we are. We are professionals in our field. We've honed our craft over time, whether you're a junior or you're a senior, or you're in management. There's always something to show off. But LinkedIn is going to be the platform of highlight today. It's not necessarily the best platform, but this is one that, and again, coming from a Vancouver or Canadian view here, it is one of the consistent ones over the years where professionals have been posting their profiles, kind of like a digital resume. You can think of it like that, as well as their work, showcasing what they do, and that's where we find jobs. That's where we post looking for work. So this will be the platform that we're going to highlight today. But that again is very much looking at it from the tech side in Vancouver. And there are many supporting platforms here, as I've highlighted there. We have Behance, which is a lot really there for designers, and you know, sometimes I say it's a place for designers to pat each other in the back. But you can find some relevance there. You can find some good conversations. But we want to be posting on LinkedIn, whether it be from Behance, GitHub, your social platforms like Instagram. I've put there. You want to push your content to mainly LinkedIn, even if you're creating it somewhere else, you're showcasing it somewhere else, because LinkedIn is where the jobs are going to be seen. That's where other professionals in your field are going to be seen. So it's important to really consider where you are, you in the world, where you are in your career, and is this going to be the relevant platform? At least here for many years, since really the platform came to my attention, many of us here, it's been a great place to find work, network with other folks, especially in this digital field where we don't really have a lot of opportunities to meet people in person. Sometimes we don't want to meet them in person. A lot of creatives, natural introverts there. So going out there and being that social butterfly is not always the most exciting thing you're going to do that week. So this is a great alternative. Any of these platforms are great alternatives. Now, there are other platforms, but what I say, check for your relevance. What I'm speaking to is that sometimes it depends on what industry you're trying to promote your work to. Are they on this platform? Are they not on this platform? Some industries are not as active on LinkedIn, and that may be where you need to go to Facebook, you need to go to X, or whatever other platforms are available. And I've found work in the past through both of these platforms here. I found work through these other three platforms here. So it varies. It varies sometimes. You want to be active, most active, where you know that the folks that are looking for the work, they're looking for the talent. Where are they going to be? So do your own research, but in general, I would say, Vancouver and Canada in general, a lot is happening on LinkedIn. A lot of us go to LinkedIn, whether it be here all the way to Toronto or the East Coast. That's where we're finding a lot of professional examples, and it's important, I would say, to remain professional in yourself. There's a lot of non-professional kind of posting on different kind of platforms. So we have to do our part there to remain professional, keep professional, make sure that you're posting your professional work all the time. So let's continue. The content, back on track here. So again, this is coming from a postgrad. So postgrads should, especially designers, but even developers, to some respect, you have to have some kind of showcase, some place to showcase your work. So this is where portfolios come into play. And when I speak of portfolio, and it's not going to be just your work on GitHub, whatever is public there, just a couple projects on Behance, And when I'm speaking on portfolio, this is a dedicated website. This is somewhere that is solely your work. It is isolated in the web space there, and where we can visit it and only see your work. And I always go back when many years after years of helping folks with portfolios, is that the reason for that is if we go to your Behance page, we see some beautiful work there, and I browse and you see some even better work, and then the work is just changing and changing and changing. Uh, I might not be on your profile anymore. The whole planet can be on these other platforms, and we don't want to invite that comparison. That is an unfair comparison. You should not be having to compete in your showcase with someone who's possibly has more work experience than you have had, in your whole life, like 30, 40 years. That's not something we should be comparing against. So the portfolio, it isolates, it traps kind of the viewer. You can think of looking at your work, and on that portfolio, we should have 4 projects at least, but I maintain that over years that 6 to 8 is always that much better. We want to have a mix of projects. If you can show some group work, we can show some individual work, client work, the diversity of the work showing a portfolio, that is always going to be best. And the reason that I would say 6 to 8 is that if you have only 4 or less than 4, what it kind of conveys is yeah, a lack of investment in yourself, in your craft, belief in your own work there. So be bold with your work, show it off. Don't be ashamed of that work, and have at least 4, but I would say shoot just for 6 to 8. That is always going to be a much stronger portfolio, and this is for designers, developers, graphics, anything in that digital space. And if you can show off more range, like I said myself, I started as an illustrator. If I'm creating a portfolio tonight, I'm going to be showing off my illustrative work, my UI work, my UX work, web, SaaS, all the different kinds of work. And the more content you have, the more weeks, months you have to showcase work. So this is why content is so important here. And with content, it cannot just be pictures. It cannot just be text. Developers, I'm thinking of you, especially in this space here, is one image and just some text not going to convey enough. We need to have a mix of both, and then give us some process. What was it like going through the steps? And that is the big part of portfolio. Is not the perfection of the work you're showing off. It is that you did the work. And this is such an important aspect when you're first trying to get into the field, is we can see you went through those steps and you're telling us how you went through those steps. That kind of explanation is just so much more vital for your portfolio. But also at this point, when we have to market ourselves, you need to be able to show and explain. And that's, we be able to convey that workflow, that process. And especially for group work, what was that dynamic like? How did you work with others, and what went right, what went wrong? And it's not a place to complain, but you can think of it like a postmortem reflection of each of these kind of group projects you may be doing. Because again, it's not about that final result, it's about the process and going through the steps. Now, going with that, when I reference things like certs and upgrading, these are really good, and I think they're also just undervalued a lot of the time when we see them. When you're trying to upgrade yourself. You have an interest. Let's say you're always on the UI side. Maybe you've moved to UI from graphics, but you've tried a little bit of UX, and now you're really into it. And this, you've taken some UX courses, some self-study. Tell us about that. Tell us on LinkedIn. This is what I've been doing. It's super exciting. Really really energized to get into this space. Convey that excitement, convey that energy. Certificates, upgrades. These are natural parts of the progression of yourself and your career over time. So whether we're as a junior trying to get into the field, and during your waiting time, you're waiting to hear back from prospective employers, because you live in Vancouver and it takes forever sometimes. So during that time, instead of pressing refresh on the browser there, go take a cert. Go look into how can I improve myself? How can I enhance the skills I already have? And then once you've done that, uh, go brag about it. What, it's nothing wrong with telling others that I went through this cert, and not just that you went through a cert, but what happened in that cert. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And opinions and hot takes. These are great for when you don't have content, you don't have a cert, but you want to get a conversation going. And again, we'll go into that a little bit more later on as well. So when we think about content, before we get into the content itself, when the content is going to be going out, this is very, very important. So sometimes, when we're going through the work week ourselves, or think of your past work before you've gone to your post-secondary kind of journey there, is you want to reflect on that, and I kind of put all these here with the emojis to give an ideas, is that you want to reflect on that in the text scene. If you're posting too early, too late, uh always on a Friday, I would attribute a Friday post to a Friday commit. Why would you do that? Terrible choice. Why would we ever do a commit on a Friday? No one should be committing on Friday. So why are you doing a post on a Friday? And it's the same thing throughout the week. Monday, a lot of the times, and this comes up often. Talking with my students about interviews, and phone conversations, video interviews, things like that. The days of the week, these sometimes can be helpful. They can sometimes be a hindrance. We can't always get our pick on there. But if you're marketing yourself, you're posting your own work, you have absolute control of when this happens. So, thinking about Monday, yourself back from the weekend, you might still be in weekend mode a little bit. So, just the lingering thoughts of what, Saturday, Sunday, I didn't have to work, I didn't have to work. It was nice. The sun might even have come out. If you're in Vancouver, what a rarity. And then, Monday, everyone's going to be in a little bit of that beginning of the week hustle, where we're planning out the work, filling out our tickets, looking at what we were supposed to finish last week, things like that. So Monday can be all right, but are you going to get that exposure? Are you going to get those eyes on your work? Sometimes Monday can be a little bit of a struggle. Tuesday through Thursday. These are kind of I always think of them, and I always talk about students. These are kind of your core times. We're far enough from the weekend. We've had to leave the weekend behind us. We're kind of in work mode. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, full work mode. We're committed to that working time. Wednesday especially, you cannot be the furthest from the furthest to the weekend. Uh, these all can work in your favor here for posts. Is there's going to be a little bit more kind of scrolling, and not that there won't be scrolling on Monday or Friday, but there's going to be a little bit more scrolling Tuesday through Thursday. And you can even think about the time of day. If you're posting very early in the morning, this can actually be quite good. Folks are starting off the day, they got the coffee, the tea, whatever it is, the morning sugar, and there's going to be a little bit of browsing. You post at lunchtime, people are at lunch. They might not be so keen to be hopping on LinkedIn and seeing, oh, who's posting what, see what's happening. But before then can be a great time, early start of the day, and then also a little bit after lunch. Now, not immediately after, and definitely not around the 3 p.m. mark. When that post lunch kind of low comes, the digestion, and it's kind of a little bit slower work time. So be strategic. That Monday, Friday can be a little bit tougher. Friday we're sometimes they're already in the weekend mode there, but Tuesday through Thursday, these are great core times, and be strategic in your posts. We'll talk a little bit more about time shortly, but you want to think about who are you marketing? What companies? Is it HR? Is it a technical director, a creative director, or whoever? When would they be likely to be more active on LinkedIn? We cannot always predict this, but there's going to be a little bit of typical trends there. The weekend. Well, we should not be working the weekend. You can start to plan your content the weekend, but weekends are weekends. Is maybe folks are working the weekend. Let's keep our kind of posting in the core work days, core work hours. We want to get the attention when the attention has the best probability. So a little bit of thought here on when to be releasing content, and really considering your audience. So let's talk about a little bit on our strategy here for the content itself. So when you have the portfolio is already in itself a portfolio piece. And, you know, you finish your website. That's no small feat. You've put together all the content. You know, designers were showcasing your best work, your group work, your most interest in a specific field. It could be, let's say it's UX, or you're showcasing, this is my UX. I really want to show some UX, but you will also have other projects, some UI, some graphics, things like that. But when you have the portfolio itself completed, and this is a dedicated website again with a dedicated domain. Developers, the same thing. You could be on Vercel, but you want to have a dedicated space that just has your work, and that is a great thing to show off right away. So I finished. Here it is. Hello world. Here's my portfolio. It's live. It's public. It's out there on the net. And invites folks to visit it, to give you some feedback on it, to share it. Another thing, what's wrong with asking folks to share it with others who may be interested? You never know who your first person connections may know in their second, their third, or not even on LinkedIn. A lot of networking will happen outside of LinkedIn, but it may have started on LinkedIn. So push your audience, write in there, and you know every post should have some little bit of writing, a little bit of media, and let them know this is live, this is out there. Share it, comment. You're open for feedback. You're open for any kind of thoughts. That's perfect right there. Now also is letting folks know that you are available to work. And I remember speaking to some alums after, and you know, looking for work right after they had graduated, and asking these questions. Have you posted that you're available to work, or you change your profile, pardon me, that you're available to work? And you know, they get some negative pushback that, you know, the little open to work green on their profile is unnecessary. Says who? Are they the one that are looking for work? Are they the one that had success not using that? So, you know, we want to take in these comments, these criticisms, this constructive feedback, but it doesn't mean you have to follow everything. I would maintain that letting the, you know, the network, the platform, wherever you're posting on, in this case LinkedIn, know that you're open to work is not going to hurt your chances. This is reflecting your availability. It is different if you're currently in a role and you're trying to find another one. Yes, that probably don't do that. But if you're looking for work, you're brand new, just graduated, 100% let us know that you are ready to work. Now, uh, sometimes portfolio individual projects, this can be mixed up a little bit. So what I'm specifying there is that your portfolio being completed is something to showcase. But then every individual project is also a potential post, something that you can focus on, something you can highlight individually and showcase separately. The worst thing I see done sometimes is everything shared all at once, and we really hope that that one post is going to pull all the employers in, and they're going to say yes, 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 please come work here, please come work there. It's not going to happen. So you need to spread it out. The portfolio being completed, this is a milestone. You talk about that. Open to work, you talk about that. Each project could equal one post, 1 week of content to talk about, 1 week of content for conversations, 1 week of supports, all those emojis that come up there to help others see that someone else liked this, someone else supported this, someone else celebrates this. That is 1 week to let that single project flourish. Give it some time in the digital space here to get out there. And with that post, of course, we want to give a little bit of reflection. I'll do some highlights on this shortly, but you must not just throw a link out there. Just a single link is really expecting a lot on your audience here. So when you create that post, put some context there, put the link there, ask for some thoughts. Even though, sometimes it's, and I've had someone say that to you. You only ever like my post. You don't comment on my posts. Not everyone has to comment. Not everyone even has to like or do anything with it. But when someone likes it, they celebrate it or they comment on it. That helps generate some virality, generates more kind of visibility in the feed itself, and we know that it's all about that visibility in the feed. We're not trying to create controversy in comments. We're trying to create celebrations, trying to create constructive criticisms and thoughts and celebrations there. So think about each of these posts. What is the narrative? What is going to be coming up there? Try and direct that as much as you can. So provide those thoughts and opinions as mentioned here to try to encourage the conversation to happen. We cannot force it, but if we can highlight and give some encouragement, that's always going to be helpful. So let's dig into some of the details, and I'm using the post for this event here as an example. So I just threw this together very, very quick. So if we look at this post here, if I was to post this, I'm thinking about what to say and say, no, 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 no. I don't want to post that. Yeah, you're just gonna throw that link out there, Tyler. They will get it. They'll get it with the link. Who are they? First of all, we don't know who they are. We don't know what their interest might be in our post or who might be looking at this post. But if I just left this post here, um, who may click on it? Sometimes somebody, but there's not really any reason to post. So give a little bit of content, write some notes out there. Even when for this event, I would share it and give my own thoughts. Not just because this is the event that I'm hosting, but if it's like a regular like our capstone events, our project events, if we're having another masterclass, someone else's masterclass, you share it, add a little bit of comments there to get the conversation, get the comments, get the excitement flowing there. Don't just pollute it with a bunch of emojis. That's not necessary. Let the other folks react, and that's okay for some emojis here. If I was posting and I was looking for work, I should be highlighting that I'm available for work. Now, I'm not looking for work myself, but if I was looking for work, absolutely I'm going to be putting on that little green open to work there. If I don't do that, then how does anyone know I am looking for work? Now, sometimes this last one here on the link, this is this is where we might have to have another thumbnail, or we might want to remove the thumbnail, put our own visual for the post. Now, thankfully, our lovely IAs here always put together these nice covers for our events, for any kind of things that we're throwing together here in Web and Mobile. But if it's your own link and it doesn't grab the right cover image or it doesn't grab the right thumbnail that you like, create one. Just create one. There's so many tools to generate them, but I would say just go create one. Even if you have some rudimentary tools, you could screenshot one, throw it together in some of these open source programs, and give us something more tailored, something more intentional for folks to click on. If it looks like a scammy kind of link, it probably is going to be conveyed to others as a bit of a scammy link. So make sure that it is clear both in the writing, in the thumbnail, and then consider as we just mentioned, is it a good time to post? This lovely little clock over here, when they introduced that, like many platforms being able to schedule a post, why not take advantage of that? We look before the days of the week that you can consider when you're posting, but also the time. If many of us, I'm sure there's at least a few among us here where you're a bit of the night owl. You're more creative. I'm so creative at 1 in the morning, Tyler. Sure you are. Sometimes that's the case. But regardless, if you're posting at 2, 3 in the morning, and then they'll see it in the morning when they get to work, there's no guarantee of that. There's time zones all over Canada, and right now around 7:30 this particular time here, but it's 10:30 in Central Canada. So all the hours are going to be thrown all over the place. Schedule your post so that it is most appropriate on the most ideal day, but also the ideal time for where you are trying to promote your work. If it's your local time zone that you want to promote it, during those times when you know people will be at work. You know people will be at the office. They will be thinking of their industry topics. That they're thinking about development, they're thinking about design, thinking about software product, whatever it is. They're in that mode already. You post this 2 in the morning on a Sunday. This is not going to be very gripping for those that are out there viewing LinkedIn, possibly on a Saturday or Sunday, likely bored out of their tree at the mall or something. Who knows what they're doing? Why are they on LinkedIn in the weekend? This is probably not going to be your best engagement. So really utilize all these details here to make sure when you post your work, you are being as strategic as possible. Now, we're going to back up a little bit more here and think about, if we're posting on LinkedIn, we have to make sure that you are also ideal on LinkedIn. And I'm not going to go too deep into picking on everybody's LinkedIn here, pick on my own LinkedIn. I always pick on my own LinkedIn here when giving examples, and no different today is make sure that if you're posting there, you want to get a lot of eyes on your work, and they are visiting your portfolio. They have decided, okay, this person's work, lovely, just the best. And they go to your about page, lovely, sane, human, very employable sounding. And then, okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna visit their GitHub page. Look, they've done some things. It's sprinkles of green on there. That's great. And then they go visit your LinkedIn profile, and then it's sad. No profile photo, default banner, barely filled out. That could be the end of that opportunity because you did not put effort into something that is part of that industry expectation. So make sure that your name is complete, the name that they would be talking, they'd be calling you at work. This is not like a legal document, anything like that. There, the role, at least the role that you're seeking, and have an appropriate photo. And I always maintain that whatever your LinkedIn photo would be, this should be as close to the person we see coming in for the interview. Oh, it's my favorite photo from 10 years ago. Not valid here. Let's if you come in and we see you say, "Who are you?" And then we know this was probably not ideal for our LinkedIn profile photo. And that I've seen too many times where the opportunity is lost because of LinkedIn photo, the banner photo, or an incomplete profile. And let's not lose out to a potential position because of these small things here. In addition to the work experience filled out, education filled out, and specifically your top three skills. And when you list your skills on your LinkedIn, make sure to move those around. Your top three are what help direct you to a particular position. All right, let's talk about some content. How to really make that content stretch out. So, in addition to the portfolio itself, so we talked about the portfolio itself, celebrating that completion, and we want to think about the projects as well. So whether it be the portfolio or the projects, it is very important to have some control on the link. So when I'm talking about direct the URL, if you just send us to your home page and you hope that we click on that first project, that second project, uh, there's no way to guarantee that. If you link us directly to that project, 100% we're going to land on that particular project. So don't be general in that project post. If you're highlighting a particular project, send us to that project. We can explore afterwards, but send us directly to that project, especially if you're wanting to highlight one particular part of the field that you're interested in. Talk about that in the post and link directly to that. The cover, once again, if it's not working, not every, like today, technical things, difficulties come up, little hiccups. If the cover is just not working and it's getting frustrated, then you replace it with your own cover. The cover can convey so much. If we think about someone that's visiting your portfolio and you have 10 projects, or maybe 4 projects, they're not looking at all 4 or all 10. Unlikely. Well, they're going to browse a little bit, maybe look at your first 2 to 3. And of those 2 to 3 covers, whatever we see, just like a book, is going to have to convey enough to hopefully get that person to click on it. So if the cover is too vague, if it's just a logo, for example, not much background image, Why would I click on it? Show me the laptop with the computer, or the laptop, pardon me, with the mobile phone beside it there. Then, the assumption just based on that little thumbnail, even if I cannot see the content inside, I know it's likely on web and use something responsive because you have a mobile device there and you have a laptop there. Now maybe it's something else. It's not a website, it could be a web app, it could be some custom platform, but those two devices give me a lot of context, plus your title and that little bit of the writing there. Uh, that gives me all the information I need to make that very quick choice. So when you're making that post, you have so much more control than when we even just go to the website there. So that's what I mean. Direct us to the URL, control the image, control the link, and you can control where the viewer starts. And that is a great part of marketing yourself is showcasing the exact content you want to showcase rather than hoping for content to pop up. All right. So can't all be perfect all the time. So here, when thinking about posting red flags, and I've put the appropriate clown count for playing yourself here, is that again the general link not going to be helpful here. Just a link is not going to be helpful at all. Sometimes just text and then no link is just as bad. The dead link is just the worst. Total face palm right there when someone sends me a portfolio link and I'll post, someone's looking for this job, someone's looking for this kind of role, and they send me their portfolio link, and it's just 404 town there, and cannot recommend that person. I Unlikely I'm going to be revisiting that person's website. I understand that technical difficulties come up, little issues come up. And again, like today, no big deal. But you sometimes only have one shot. You only have one shot with sending someone something, especially for a portfolio, especially for a position. Test. You must test. Always test your links out, even with your explanation. Spell check. There's so many tools available to you. There's really no excuse for just a jumbled up jargon instead of the decent sentence structure. Be clear. You have so many tools, and I'm not talking about ChatGPT. Write it yourself so that you can explain it yourself. But a little bit of help is fine, but do not ask for a replacement. Make sure that the writing there is clear. I know basic sentence structure, these little details, especially positions like UI, where the finest details are so important. Everything must be pixel perfect. Things like typos, starting sentences with lowercase, images that are not working, or especially the dead link. This really reflects poorly on you. So all these little things come up here. We talked about the late post, and that's not working, and even complaints. Now this is one that's does come up every now and then, not too often, thankfully, but mainly from group work, and we've likely seen that meme of group work is just how many people let you down. Not really the case. This is especially not what we want to be reading about group work. Group work should be a reflection of that dynamic, working with others. There's always going to be positives, always going to be negatives. There's going to be sometimes some forms of conflict, some compromise. This is what you want to talk about. Not complaints, not finger pointing that always just reflects poorly on that individual. But this last one here, that if you don't have a visual, sometimes it's not going to destroy your chances. I would still recommend you come up with something. Come up with something just to complete that post so it looked again very intentional. You wanted it to showcase this work. You wanted to click on this work, so you highlight that and give us as much context as possible, including the image there. So just a little review here. Clean URL, working URL is number one. Good cover that supports. And this last one here for the writing, sometimes, if you're yourself browsing LinkedIn and you see a post and it looks like it's starting to get interesting, and then it just disappears, and I'll just keep browsing. I cannot be bothered, because when you clicked on that read more, it's not a post, it's a short story or a novel. I was born. No one needs to read that much. Your post does not need to be that much. be be just simple, significant with the delivery, with the highlight, with the image. Less is more is kind of what I'm describing here. There's kind of an average character count there. As long as you keep around like 150, 200, you should be not quite reaching that ellipsis there, and we're getting the your content in writing, the visual there, and now we have a place to like it, share it, support it, wherever that's going to be. So make sure you're doing your own kind of little checklist here and completing all of that work. All right. So again, we're gonna clip along here as quickly as we can in this short hour. So when you run out of portfolio work, and that will happen, if you've got 6 projects, you've potentially 7 weeks of work. I would say 8 to 10 weeks because when you've graduated, that is a milestone. You should be celebrating that, posting about that, being excited about that, completing your portfolio. That's again another milestone. Come look at this. I finished this. What are your thoughts? And looking for work, that can be another post just in itself. Again, you can repost maybe the about section to your portfolio. Could be your GitHub profile there, maybe your Behance, you want to highlight that time. If you have a dedicated social channel, that would also be okay. And then you have project, project, project. Each one is going to be a solid week. So you can really be strategic and space out across all those weeks or months, really utilizing each of those projects. And I have been asking, isn't that just repetitive, Tyler? Well, yes, it is. But if you're posting about your first project this week and your second project next week, those who saw your first project on LinkedIn may not be there seeing your second project, and then they're back and they see you posting about your third one. It's about getting that exposure, getting the eyes on your work. So we want to really spread that out. But at some point, the portfolio work will run out. You can't just have a million projects and then have a million weeks of content. So we'll need to have a little bit more. This is where, as mentioned before, certs, so good. They're again they're greatly undervalued, and there's lots of places to get your certs or showcase that you're exploring, developing more beyond what you did in your post-secondary studies. There's a lot we cover, web and mobile. It's huge amount of content in such a short time with our students, and they work incredibly hard and they build just amazing MVPs in their capstone and data projects, CMS projects, and project 1 and 2. But as much as we cover, there's always going to be a little bit more. And that's the same for graphics or video for a lot of industries. So, and not only is there more, there's also going to be development in our field. Everyone here is talking about AI, everything about AI. And you can jump onto the AI train there, but first, we want to highlight also your skills. What have you been working on? What have you been refining, trying to perfect in your knowledge base, always seeking that higher level of understanding. This tells us a lot about you, your work ethic, your thoughts and approach to the work. This is a great way to highlight more than just look at what I did. This is what I am continuing to develop. So important there. And again, this especially for a fresh grad, seeing that you still have that little bit of that hunger for knowledge, hunger for developing yourself, enhancing your own work. That is always going to be a great thing to showcase. Now, when I think of developers, especially, I'm thinking about exploration, trying something different. If you build something in that sandbox environment and it's not always a success. Sometimes it's a colossal failure, but because you're learning a new language, you're trying something out, it broke, it just keeps breaking. But you are going through the process. You are going through the steps. If you have completed even something small, maybe you're working with some physics, some lighting, you're playing around with that. Recently talking to a portfolio group, quite a few of them are exploring things like Unity, not in their standard curriculum, but it's been something that has been in the back of their mind of interest. Go explore it in a small amount, in a large amount, whatever your time may allow. But once you've reached a certain point, If that's it and you don't talk about it, then no one knows. And if they don't know, they don't know you can do it. If they don't know you can do it, then they're not going to hire you for it. There's no kind of magic that happens where they just suddenly know the work that you are capable of. So even if it's small, even if it may have fallen on its face and you feel like it was not a success, still talk about it and talk about exploring that language. You tried this thing out. I always had an interest in Python, so I worked on this Python project. Why did you want to work on that? Give us some explanation that it was something that was different, something maybe you just wanted to push yourself to try something new. What a great thing to talk about and showcase. The easy ones are always developments in the field, as mentioned. Everyone's super excited about AI or so terrified of AI. Before it was things like blockchain, before it was something else, all the time. There is some new developments. Maybe you're still really into VR and AR. There's a lot of developments in that space. And a long time ago, a really good colleague of mine mentioned to me that we can see when someone is really interested in the field when they get excited about hardware developments. And how true that really is. And what you're thinking about AI even is when you're really excited about hardware, we know that you're excited about the software. We know you're excited about everything that goes with it. And I'm not saying everyone go out and get excited about hardware, but it is an aspect that you can show interest in it, like any of these topics here, including a change in role. I use myself as an example again. I started designing building interiors when I first moved to Vancouver. I got started in the industry, and the furthest thing it could be from where I ended up in UX and software, think, virtual gambling, video games, all that journey was not known to me. I did not expect that change in roles, that kind of wave of changes in my professional journey. When you change these roles, when you learn new things, or you're pushing yourself to change that role, talk about it, post that up. And this is more for a little bit later on after graduating, but these first three definitely going to be something core to keeping the eyes on yourself and what you're developing and showcasing yourself in that kind of self-marketing side there. But later on, there will be some change. You don't want to hide from that change, especially if you are changing with the change in the industry. Our industry changes so quick. So be present, be active, and talk about that. I do want to highlight one kind of quick thing here and I see this a lot happens with designers especially is trying to create. I mentioned a little bit of conflict or controversy a little bit early on there, and this is kind of an example of that where you design something and then you design two versions of it, and you ask the audience, you ask people of LinkedIn, what do you think is right? What do you think is the one to do? And I understand this can create a lot of conversation. Oh, all these people giving me ideas, opinions. It also tells us that you have no confidence in your choices. You have no confidence in that one direction. You could post design A and design B and tell us, I went with design A because, or I went with design B because, and give us reason behind that. And then you can always ask for what are your thoughts? Would you have gone with design A and why? Would you have design B and why? Because no one knows all the context, no one knows all the variables, the attributes that might be affecting the particular direction of the design, but you can create some of that conversation still while giving your thoughts and opinions, having a direction, having some confidence in your development choices, your design choices, and still invite some kind of additional thoughts. That is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with someone not liking the direction that you went with. Oh, I would have gone with A. You're a fool for going with B. Well, that's their opinion, and who are they? There will be others that will, what we're looking for is, I understand why you went with design B. I would have gone with A because, and then they can go through there, and you get to have a little bit again that visibility on the feed, which is important there. But you might also be able to learn something and develop some context, develop some networking there, because that's what we want. We want to be able to get those contexts, get those uh, those conversations happening as much as possible, but also reflecting positively on you. We want that to be always a positive reflection of you and your kind of developments there. So let's wrap this up, and we'll have a few minutes for questions. So again, we want to stay on the professional network. You be professional. We want to keep that professional aspect, even if others are not. You maintain that. Use the platforms that are going to be most visible for your particular industry. And if they are relevant, you use those as well. Absolutely. But here again, we're leading very much on LinkedIn, but it's not going to be forever. The platform we use, it is currently a very useful platform that we can use here. All right, so wrapping up here is just a few little tips. Again, you want to keep looking into the field, keep exploring, keep refreshing your work. A portfolio lasts around 2 years or so, kind of is what I tell folks. But you need to keep doing this until you do not need a portfolio anymore, and that will come. That will come at some point. When you're a senior, you're hit that 6, 8, 10 year mark, especially after 10 years. Thinking of myself, very little I could show off, and it's not that you're ashamed or there's nothing to show off. Is you were greatly restricted at some point due to a lot of the time IP security sensitivity of the client's content there. Usually it's around data, but it can sometimes just be their preference. So that will happen at some point, but until you do not need the portfolio, until you are known enough in your field, and even though today's talk was very much geared towards a fresh grad, I want to just throw this in here because it is something that you have to keep doing again and again and again until you do not have the portfolio, or your portfolio really becomes kind of, as I call it sometimes, a vanity project showcasing yourself a lot, and that will happen. That's a good thing. That means that you've kind of done what you needed to do in your industry. So, wrapping up, these are a few links. If you are interested in a little bit more details of what we do at Web and Mobile at Langara College, we have our dedicated website here. Dedicated website, very important. We have our own YouTube channel. We have an admissions link here, and then we have our upcoming capstone for the very first capstone of 2025. It'll be very exciting. It will be happening in April coming up, and that we have both a virtual and in-person attendance where we usually host it in downtown Vancouver. So some links here. You feel free to browse those. And I wanted to use this last little bit of time here. There's a little bit of time for some Q&A. So I'm gonna just go through the chat. There's a few questions here, and I'm gonna answer them as quickly as I can, as best as I can here. So if you have some questions, please post them here. And if you're watching this recording later on, again, thank you everybody. Thank you everyone for watching the video on our channel there, and feel free to reach out to the Langara Web and Mobile, myself on our social channels. So we have one question here. Thank you to the eyes for posting that in our chat. All the links, definitely check out all the links here. So one question, what should I include as a backend developer since you don't have any visible work? So that's a really good question. It's quite tough especially for backend. So a lot of times I'm working with full stack, and we can show off a little bit front and a little bit of back end. But if you're doing just purely backend, it's going to be a little bit more on the writing side is kind of where that's going to be coming up. You can still showcase a little bit of the front end. Maybe it's not your front end, but what I'm thinking about is especially when you're working with others. If you're working with others, you can still show off some visuals from the completed MVP or the completed web platform, the website, whatever it is. But when you're doing your rationale, your writing about your work, when you're writing about it on that LinkedIn post, be specific. So in that role, I was back-end developer for this particular project, and what happened in that role? What were some of the successes? What were some of the exciting points? I got to work with this. I got to work on that. Were you able to to talk about your tech stack. Now, this is another place where developers, especially back end, yeah, we don't have a lot of visuals to show off, but you can give us a diagram, show us your thought process. This is something that I'm always excited to work with back end because on the UX side, that I've always found that the more I understand on any particular project about the back end, about the security, the better my design can be, or the better our design team can be creating this software, whatever the solution may be, because the backend is just so important. So my advice for backend, especially on this question, again, really good question there, is to explain your thought process, your approach, and the reasoning for that approach. Why do you structure it this way? Why are you storing this in this manner? Why are you using this database structure? Be very specific in that sense. A little bit more on the writing side, but it's still something you can do. Absolutely. So going to the next question here. Adding certificates for LinkedIn, should we focus on quantity or depth? I would think about the quantity over time. So don't try and do a whole bunch at once. Maybe you still have to live your life, you still have to do your own work there, but you want to be specific. So uh, I would start with the most targeted or most direct certs that apply to the job that you are seeking, the industry you are most interested in. That would be where I'd push your certs first, and then adding on over time. What would support these additional certs? What would support your portfolio? So there will be quantity, but I would focus on the relevance first, or you can think of the quality first. Um, no, oh, this is a duplicate question there. If I was going to events, industry related, and I'm gonna repeat the questions here so that they can be in the video. If I'm going to industry events, panels, socials, good idea to post about it. Yes, yes, absolutely. So just reminding myself how I kind of should have done this is I was recently at a conference that was purely focused on AI, and that would have been something that if I was in that kind of newer role, absolutely post about being in that event. A couple photos. What were some key speakers that were really interesting? What were some summary thoughts for each day that you were at this event, or if it's a multi-day event? If it was one event, uh, give us a summary. What were some highlight points? What were some exciting kind of developments you found, and who did you meet? Tag them in that post. Now you're building some network, and you get possibly a little bit of growth there, and maybe you can get invited to the next event, you access to another event. Absolutely celebrate any kind of involvement for something in your field. Another question, I'm going to try and answer these last ones here before we wrap up. Again, thank you everyone for posting these questions. Professional shifting roles from development to UX or design to product management. What is the best way to frame this transition? And so I would just be posting about that. So you can talk about a little bit of your journey. So like I talked about my journey just not long ago. Talk about, I started here and now I'm here. Tell us why. Why did that happen? What was exciting? What was the driving force pushing you to shift from design to product management? What is it about product management that drew you in, that really excited you? Tell us about that. It's not going to be a negative point. It's just like changing roles. It's normal for us to change jobs quite often in tech. Um, it's not a bad thing. You need to celebrate these little changes here, so people can see that activity. Again, your personal investment in the field, investment in yourself. Um, Another duplicate question here. So two more questions, and then we'll wrap up today. What should I include because I don't have any experience or nor projects? So if you don't have any projects, you need to start looking at your field of study. What are some projects you can do or you do yourself? Design studies are great. If you're a UX UI designer looking at something, how would you rework a percentage of it? Create a vertical in Figma, prototype it, show us the UX, show us the UI. If you're a developer, exact same thing. Pick something. If it's going to be online, you want to do it on a mobile device. So you're going to create something, just a small React Native kind of sandbox. Show us in that vertical what you can create, and talk about how you explored this. Design studies or development studies is where I would start. That's how you can create your own projects, shows yourself as a self-starter, and then you showcase that on your portfolio. Our last one here, 8 years experience is back end, enjoying into expanding into skills and design, which is great. Again, developers and designers, we should understand a lot of what we do in each other's work. Is it good to include both development experience and design projects you did? Yes. Yes, you should be showcasing both now, especially here if you have development experience and you have design experience, you're going to be that much more ideal as a candidate. Now, my caution would be to make sure that if you are hired as a designer, you are mainly doing design work, maybe some front-end development only. If they're having you do back end, they're having you do more than just some basic front end work there, then you need to be transitioned to a development role because that is development pay. But if you have experience in both, I would showcase both absolutely. Otherwise, it's a complete waste in your knowledge and that skill set. You want to showcase that, and maybe you do not want to work in that field going forward. You need to still highlight that knowledge in there because that is going to help us understand your approach with the design there. So this will be my last one here, completely because we're just over the time here, but we had that little bit at the beginning without the shared screen. So if you're trying to achieve a research position, so research is now thinking more of like UI research or product development research, things like that. You will have to give us examples. What have you researched? Why did you research it? This is where a lot of these I'm myself, if I'm looking for a researcher, I'm going to be seeing a lot of things like slide decks, going through the research, showing us the data, showing us, in addition to the slide deck, a lot of documentation. Research, you have to really prove to us that the research was done. What type of research is quantitative, qualitative, the research behind that drives that research, like what was it for, who are the stakeholders here. We need a lot of information around the research, especially if it's going for a position geared towards that. So it would be a lot of documentation similar to kind of what I was talking about there for backend, but you would still have some kind of even a light portfolio to showcase that work. All right, so that's going to be it for our questions today. And I see that there's one or two coming to me here, and then there's a few private ones there. So I'll try to answer those maybe afterwards if you want to reach out to any of us online. But that is going to be it for us today on this masterclass. I'll zip back up to our cover here. So hopefully it was helpful to those who joined. Really, really thankful to everyone who joined. Again, thankful to all our IAs who helped put this on. Yes, lots of little claps there. Again, my name is Tyler Higgs, one of many instructors at Langara's Web Mobile App Design and Development Program. Thank you again for joining us. And those of us who will see you online afterwards in the YouTube. Please have a look at the rest of our videos. Lots of great content on there. Thank you, everyone. Have yourself a great evening.